have a situation where you have people, the rich class, owning so many properties, and those of us at the middle class struggling to get place to sleep.
Okay, welcome back, family. Earlier this year, I had the honor and privilege to exhibit Kuro at the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo. And it was a wonderful event, had lots of representation from different areas of the industry. And the main theme around this year's conference was around PropTech and digital transformation. So it's right up my street. And I was very proud to say that Kuro was one of the few PropTech organizations that are present and active in the Ghanaian market. So it was a great session. But what was really interesting, we got to hear from a variety of experts and leaders in the public sector, government ministers, etc., about the ambition for change and reform in the real estate sector in Ghana. So today I want to review a speech from the Deputy Lands Minister, Honorable Alhaji Yusuf Sulemana. I got to meet him and speak with him after the event. Really down to earth, really forward-thinking minister, and I hope that a lot of what he is thinking about will transpire in the system, in the ecosystem, because I think it'll be great for all. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it, and I'll provide my commentary on what I've observed in the system. Okay, let's get straight into it.
Good morning to all of you, distinguished guests, members of the real estate and technology communities. It is with both privilege and pleasure to join you at the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo 2025. We are implementing a national land information system. This digital platform will allow Ghanaians and investors to conduct land title search online. They'll be able to register.
Just on that, I have seen evidence of that coming to the forefront now, which is a great move. It's long overdue. There's been different pots of investment and funding that have come in to get this right over the years and over successive governments, but it finally looks like it's really in play now. So that's a hugely positive move, the land information system. There is still a lot of litigation around land, especially in Accra, with the kind of dual system of family and state kind of managed land. But the fact that the ambition is there for the system to be in play is a massive move forward.
Property, submit survey and track applications in real time. Cool. They will also integrate the government platforms such as those for tax, those for permitting, and municipal services. This is not just a system upgrade, it is a fundamental redesign of how citizens interact with the land sector.
Now, this is really important because at the end of the day, you know, what Ghana needs to get really good at, because we're such an informal community, is the collection of taxes. And land and property is a major one. You know, if you look at the West, it's a major one in which it's so automated, you know, the revenues are huge. So it's important that we have those systems in place as well. So it's really good news that the ambition is there, and in fact, the implementation is there. I was recently at an event for the Ministry of Technology and Communication, I think it's called, and they're trying to do this kind of enterprise connectivity between different ministries, etc., so that data is shared seamlessly across different systems. My one challenge around that is they had very ambitious timelines. I mean, I come from a consulting and technology background, and I know what it takes to implement one module in SAP, and it can take longer than what they were suggesting it would take to integrate all of these different government departments. So one thing is implementing a technology, another thing is enabling the technology through effective change management so people adopt it, use it, moving forward, and the right incentives are in play. So that's what I would say, but this is great ambition.
To ensure long-term data integrity and prevent fraud, we are piloting the use of blockchain technology to create secure tamper-proof and records.
So this is a big talking point in African real estate, the use of blockchain technology. I'm not a blockchain expert by any means, but where blockchain works well is like it's a public form of account in which a transaction is registered and it cannot be altered. Long story short. I do think in some way, shape or form, we are jumping the gun a little bit on that. But the fact that they're piloting it is actually innovation, evidence of innovation. My thing is, and what I've experienced, I'm sure people in the US have experienced, as long as there's a public registry of a transaction, which is fortified by legal processes that cannot be altered, that should suffice. I think the reason why we aim for blockchain is because the issue around ownership is so prevalent across the system. And that is a surefire way, or as much as, technology enables, but it is a surefire way of proving ownership and removing options of duplication, fraud, etc. But they get the land information system right and the legal requirements around registering a transaction. That should suffice. But that doesn't mean that as Africans, Ghanaians, we shouldn't take the opportunity to leapfrog what has been done in the West through uses of things like blockchain technology.
In regions where disputes overlap and there are claims of common lands, this innovation can help build trust, reduce litigation, and protect the rights of legitimate owners.
Now, the practicality of it is the question, right? How do you come to a final conclusion? Do you have to go all the way through the core system, which has a huge backlog, in order to register the formal ownership? I don't know how that works. I've given an example in another YouTube video, I'll link it here, where Rwanda got it right. And when they were doing their land information system, they even registered where the disputes were. So at least you got visibility straight away where the overlapping land disputes were. But it's the right sentiment, it's the right direction. Piloting is great because it means that you get an opportunity to show and tell what the outcome may look like or looks like. So, I'm in support. I love the ambition. There has to be some thought given to making it the reality on the ground, with the culture, with the ways of working that are existing, with the capability of the people that would have to manage the systems. All of those things need to be taken into account, as with any technology transformation, is what I would say.
Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, we are opening up our systems to allow PropTech companies and real estate developers to integrate directly with government services.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And these are the kind of conversations we need to have. And these are the kind of systems Ghana needs to build, because actually once you enable API access to property companies, etc., or PropTech companies like Kuro, they can take the raw information, transactional data, and innovate on top of it, right? So this is something that I think is really important.
This we intend to do so that wherever you sit, you can interact with our systems using the platform that we want to create. With standardized APIs, they'll be able to verify property title, access geospatial data, and even register transactions digitally. We are building
Wonderful.
an open.
I've got some startup colleagues that would be particularly interested in. You know who you are, and if you're watching, leave a like and a comment and promote your business there as well. That's something we should be looking at, and yeah, it's exciting.
Dynamic digital property ecosystem that encourages innovation, drives competition, and ultimately benefits the end user.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, we also are working to digitize licensing for all professionals in the real estate sector, from agents and brokers to valuers. We include
That's really important as well, because over time there's been a variety of attempts from different types of organization to formalize the agency sector, to remove that kind of rogue agent, to implement standards and those kind of things. But it's largely been kind of classroom and paper-based activities. It's good effort, we have to commend it. But once you start formalizing digitally those standards, maybe there's an ID card and those kind of things, then there's the increase in accountability that we all want and need in the system. So if you have an issue with an agent and they are part of a particular body or committee or whatever it is, there's an accountability trail, there is an escalation trail for you to make any grievances aware and people be aware of the standards and the re-education to happen amongst that pool of individuals, etc.
Surveyors and developers. Through our collaboration with the Real Estate Agency Council, we aim to enhance professional standards, increase transparency, and eliminate unregulated practices that undermine the credibility of the market.
Look, this is a really important point, and this is where we sit as Kura, right? We understand there's motivated diasporan and global capital, and then there's a local reality. And the local reality is these practices, unfavorable practices, undermine the fundamental attractiveness and mechanics of a well-functioning real estate industry. So that gap that's created between the motivated capital and the reality on the ground, what bridges that gap is trust and transparency. And that's where we are with Kura. What we're trying to do is we give you the data for you to understand the market, but we also conduct research on your behalf. We are independent of, we don't have any motivation. We don't work off commissions, nothing like that. We provide independent research. So if you are looking at a development or you're looking at a particular property, we'll provide you the independent research to give you comparables, market context, demand triggers, those kind of things. That's where we want to play, and we want to work with organizations like Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Housing, to provide the supporting technology infrastructure to enable the end user to have a better end-to-end experience. My firm belief is that with increased transparency, you get increased direct investment, foreign direct investment. That capital will be more motivated. The problem we have at Ngara at the moment is that some people benefit from the lack of transparency. And so the increase in transparency may mean somebody is, being targeted by an ad for a particular development, but with increased transparency, they may say, okay, this is my opportunity cost. I could buy something else in another area for way less, and it would match my requirements better. That's what we're doing with Kuro through our research offerings, through our consultation offerings, etc. But this is integral to the development of PropTech companies, is integral to the development of the system. So I think this is really good ambition. And I said that as much to the minister when I met him.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, technology alone is not enough. Digital transformation must be supported by the right skills, institutions, and regulations. That is why we are investing in digital literacy and capacity building for all staff at all levels, from regional lands officers to surveyors and planners at the ministry.
Wonderful. A key component, as I said, of the adoption of new technology is the transformation and transition of capability from as is to be to enable you to use that technology. So the right ambition is being laid out here. It's not just we're going to implement the technology, but we're also going to bring our people along the journey. I think that's really important.
We are also reviewing legal framework to ensure they support digital processes
Good.
data protection, and ethical use of technology. We all agree that this is a new phenomenon, and there's a need for us to, as it were, amend our laws to accommodate this new environment that we are experiencing.
And I think this is an important point because we're a heavily legislative environment. Got a lot of laws, but the implementation and the adoption and the enforcement of those laws in today's society are largely driven by technology. Because if you have a formal portal which you need to register a transaction, etc., that's what's going to help. I think the challenge in Ghana, for example, I did a video on the rent crisis in Accra at the moment. And a key part of that rent crisis was the fact that the Rent Control Act was from like 1963, right? The Rent Control Department's remit hadn't been updated in line with the reality of the environment that we're in. So I hope when doing these kind of transformative efforts, there's a lot of consultation with key players, which I'm sure there will be, to help shape the roadmap for change. I think that's imperative.
And that is exactly what the ministry is doing in collaboration with the agency. The benefits of this transformation are far-reaching. We expect shorter transaction times, reduced corruption, better planning outcomes, and increased investor confidence. But perhaps, most importantly, we are creating an environment in which ordinary Ghanaians, especially women, youth, and the low-income holders, can secure property rights, participate in the real estate economy, and build wealth across generations.
So I was fortunate to have a chat with the minister, a few chats actually. And, you know, I really liked what he was thinking about. So one of the things he said, and I won't reveal all, but one of the things he said is that he's questioning some developers as to how does this impact the general Ghanaian? How can the general Ghanaian get access to this? What are you doing for the general Ghanaian? And these are the questions, principles that we also look into and abide by. Because not only the general Ghanaian, the general diasporan, etc., they're different profiles. So how are you facilitating real estate environments that satisfy that real demand, which sits at a different price level?
When I was going around visiting some of our real estate developers who are here, the question I kept asking was, how much do you sell your property?
That wasn't even planned. So actually that's quite amazing. That's exactly what he was telling me as well.
Poor person afford? Can the low-income earners afford? What are we doing to bring them on board? You have a situation where you have people, the rich class, owning so many properties, and those of us at the middle class struggling to get a place to sleep. We need to have policies, we need to have strategies to be able to bring them along. And I was telling somebody that it seems the real estate industry is using the Pareto approach, the 80-20 approach. We think that the part of the 80 class should be brought on board to join those of you who are in the 80 class. Distinguished guests, I want to emphasize that Ghana does not seek to lead this effort in isolation. We are learning from global best practices, collaborating with the international partners, and working with other African countries to harmonize systems, share knowledge, and explore opportunities for regional integration. This is the spirit in which I invite all of you developers, investors, policymakers, and technologists to join us in this journey. Let us move from ideas to implementation. Let us use technology not just to digitize, but to democratize. Let us ensure that the benefit.
That's a key principle for Kuro as well. We feel as though the information around real estate should be democratized, should be in the hands of everybody who wants to engage in the system. That's why we built the data lab. Because we want people to be actively engaged and able to learn and assess the market. So that's the key concept of democratization. Don't let all the wealth of knowledge sit in a few people's head who get to dictate the market. We've opened it up so that everybody can have an equal opportunity to understand and assess the market in its entirety. We've built services that help everybody get independent analysis of a particular project, area, investment opportunity, the opportunity cost, the alternative options, because that's what is required. Somebody may be sitting there ready to invest right now, but are nervous because they don't have the expert advice, they don't have the on-the-ground reality. Remember what I spoke about earlier. There is the motivated foreign capital or diasporan capital, and then the local reality. And the local reality doesn't facilitate trust and transparency. Hopefully with these interventions, this gets better. Hopefully, Kuro, we can push to help that get better. That's what we aim to do. So we need to bridge that gap with trust and transparency, and that will unlock the capital, which will improve the economy and do better for Ghana. And that's what I want. I believe the majority of you want. So, we should really be pushing and supporting these initiatives.
Benefits of smart real estate systems are felt in every city, every town, and every village on our continent, the African continent. Mr. Chairman, as a government, we are committed to doing our part. Let us work together to build a new era in real estate, powered by innovation, guided by purpose, and grounded in the needs of our people.
Yes, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you sincerely for this opportunity, and once again say that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we are more than ready to partner you to ensure that the real estate industry in this country become an enviable platform that all of us will be proud of. God bless you all.
God bless you too. Wonderful. Wonderful speech, wonderful presentation. That's actually motivated me. I'm going to reach out to Honorable and explore where Kuro can fit in this ecosystem, because I think it's perfect timing to get this right. And they're making progress. I have to say, I've seen evidence of the digitization of the Lands Commission, all those kind of things. What do you think, guys? Can we do it? What would you like to see from a functioning real estate system? How would you approach it? All right, guys, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you again for your time and attention. Until next time.